Welcome back to Miles Off It, Michael. It's a very special episode, a very big day. We're talking about Manchester United, the crown jewel of English football.
AJ Wood, let me hold that beat.
Michael, Man United. Man
Yeah.
United finishing 6th in the Premier League, 58 points. They had a home record of 10-5-4, 35 points, a plus 10 goal differential. They had an away record of 6-5-8, 23 points, a negative 10 goal differential, which for those mathematicians at home, that means that they were dead squat even on goal differential. I think it's the first time that's ever happened in the Premier League era to Man United. Michael, we're going to be a little bit down on United. I think they had a down year. I think they're going through a down phase right now. But I do want to talk about some strengths because I know that you want to get to some of the weaknesses. Some of the strengths. We don't know yet. This is all hearsay. This is all like prediction. I do think Ten Hag's a good coach. I do think that he's the best coach that they've had in there since Alex Ferguson. I think that he may be the start of the resurgence. And I think that this was the first time that they actually did hire maybe the right guy. Louis van Gaal, no. Definitely not our boy Ole Gunnar. No. I think this is the first one that makes the most sense and will actually probably do a job. Another thing, Fred. This is the butt of every joke on our pod last season at the beginning of the year. And by the end of the year, you know what? Even us non-United fans had to admit that Fred was playing pretty well. And I think Fred's a pretty good player, and he proved it at the end. Problem with United is Fred and McTominay, they kind of got to play together. They don't. The midfield's a mess, but like I said, you're going to get into weaknesses. But Fred played really, really well towards the end of the year. The other thing, their attack is really young, and they've shown flashes of, I think brilliance is too strong of a word, but they've shown flashes of skill. I do think Jadon Sancho will have a bit of a Grealish effect, where his second year, I'm hoping, will be good. He'll be settled in at United, and the most important thing to all of these attackers, they actually have a coach that they know is going to get some rope and be there for a while, and they're going to get to learn the system, and I think their development has been stunted with the type of coaches they've had in there, the situation that's been at the managerial level with United, and it hasn't helped anyone for sure. And then the last point that I had, I don't hate the business. I want your opinion on this afterwards, but I don't hate the business. I think Lisandro Martinez, good signing. I think Eriksen's a really good signing because it's not going to cost you that much.
No.
So I thought both of those were better quality signings than they've had recently. And I think obviously just a step in the right direction already off the field with this guy being the manager. Now let's see if he can translate that to on the field. So any thoughts on the strengths before you get into the weaknesses?
Yeah, I think you don't need to play McTominay with Fred. I think you play Fred as the single pivot. I think we mentioned this on the NAFTA pod that he actually is playing really well in that position for Ten Hag. I'm going to refrain from the Ten Hag good coach thing because I don't know. And the young and skillful attackers, I also just don't know. Jadon Sancho might be the only one at this point, so young and skillful attacker might be better. And Lisandro Martinez, a lot of the jokes about his height and stuff like that, unsubstantiated. We don't know if that's the case. He seems like he's a pretty good guy. I think that's going to be a problem, but it's not going to be as big a problem as everyone says it is. And I like Eriksen too. I just don't know if Eriksen starts in your midfield for you. So I love Eriksen because it's, like you said, really cheap. And I like Martinez as a player. I think he's a, as we say, he's a dog. But I think it's fine right now. I think they need to do a lot more, but I think as of right now, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that midfield's going to be the big question mark, right? Like,
Yeah.
are we going to see a resurgence of the Beak
The
back with
Don.
his coach?
Donnie
BBB.
Vander.
But yeah, go ahead and jump into some of these negatives or some of these weaknesses that you see United having.
Okay, first of all, Paul Pogba walked for $0. Pretty insane. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
One thing, real quick, before you even jump out of that, he walked for $0, and the one guy that you're trying to get right now just needs more money.
Yes.
To leave.
They have an overall lack of leadership and identity. I think that probably starts with like the coach though. So I think Ten Hag is very much like he's gonna have his way. He has his vision. So I think that part is the identity part's gonna be fine. I think the leadership part. I mean, you have a guy like Ronaldo leaving the game midway through is pretty insane. He's supposed to be like the face of your team, at least in a sense. He's not the captain, but he's the face. He can't not be the face and be there. Speaking of captain, Harry Maguire is going to be the captain. Might not even start. Varane and Martinez, depending on where Martinez plays. I think they're two better options than him. So are we playing Harry Maguire? They always have these like really good players, these like important players that can't be left off the team sheet. I don't know who that is at this point for them, which is concerning. I guess De Gea is one of them because you don't really have another goalie. Bruno Fernandes, I think a year and a half, 2 years ago, would have 100% been one of them, but sometimes he looks like he has no clue what he's doing. Ronaldo, obviously, if he is even there, like he should be on the team sheet every time if he's there. Sometimes he wasn't, and you can make the argument that maybe he makes the team worse by him being there, but he scores all your goals pretty much. And you're going to miss the goals because I don't think he's going to play this year. But United is losing the luster a little bit. They're losing that United pull that they have. I think it's almost the opposite. How you mentioned with Newcastle, but kind of different in the kind of the same way. How you mentioned Newcastle and like the fact they have all that money, people are going to want to get more money from them. Manchester United have money. And they're Manchester United. Like, they have a reputation. They're not just going to be able to go and soften these deals for players. People are going to want them to pay. They know they're struggling right now. They're going to say, if you want my guy, you're going to have to pay extra for him. You're going to have to do this because I know you can pay it. They got to start acting like they are that brand again. And I think they've been kind of humbled the past couple of years because, like, De Jong, like, a couple years ago, he would love to go there, probably. He would say, oh, yeah, I'll go to United. But now it's kind of like Barcelona's on the up a little bit. They don't want to pay him. I understand completely why he wants to stay there and get his money. Like, it's his money.
It's my money and I need it now!
But I think in some cases that United allure would have been enough. And it just isn't anymore.
Yeah, I think the brand has definitely taken a hit, for sure. They're just not attracting the talent that they used to, and I think it's so interesting that you bring up Newcastle because I haven't fully thought this out, so this is going to be me just spewing my brain out. Like Newcastle's issue is a conviction of European football, or that they will have a good enough team to play in Europe, right?
Yes.
United doesn't really have that problem. Like, I don't know the last time United missed out on Europe, but like, I look at Newcastle as like the Chinese Super League when it first really like got a couple of those players, like Axel Witsel went over there, Oscar, however you want to say it, went over there, and they were just paying out the ass for him, right? And like, I think that's the type of ball that Newcastle has to play right now. Once they're in Europe, like, they're going to become, I would assume all signs point to them becoming a Chelsea, a City style setup. It depends on who they have in the backroom staff and whatever. With United, I think it's a whole different ball game, and it's a whole different set of reasons why people don't want to go there. And I think a lot of it has to do with money and dysfunction. And I think it's the money is there and they have it, but I don't think they spend it as willy-nilly as, like, obviously City. I mean, Liverpool is really smart about how they spend money, but they spend money. Like,
Yeah.
no one will ever say that they don't spend money. They do, and I think United hasn't been smart and hasn't really spent it the right way. And I think that, like I said before, that dysfunction is a huge issue. Like, I think really good players and the players that come in and transform a team and transform you from being fifth, fourth to second and first are smart players and are players that know, hey, if I go to City, not only do I have Pep, but I have Pep's 5 assistant coach, the backroom staff, these guys that he's been with, the different position coaches. Like, it's a whole setup.
All right.
Liverpool's the same way. I was just about to say Liverpool's the same way.
I know you're. This is the wrong Manchester team we're talking about here, though.
No, I know. I'm saying that United, I just don't feel like has any of that, and it's unfair to really even say that because Ten Hag's just gotten there.
Right. So he might be. He might lure in some good players. Speaking of good players, John, who do you think they should buy?
Well, my picks are, hey, Man United, you got to get your swagger back.
Think I got my swagger back. Oh.
Type shits.
Mm-hmm.
You got the money to get Frankie de Jong. Go get him. You do. Swallow it. If Ten Hag goes into that room and is like, this is the guy. And Nick mentioned this on the podcast we put out this week. If this is the guy, what the fuck are you waiting for? Just go get him. Pay the 20.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna make it back. You are. It's a brand. You're gonna make it back. And then I put 2 names in here that if they don't get him, I'm like, this needs to be the obvious next step. Declan Rice, who just talked about at West Ham, looks like a Man United player. As much as that pains me, he does kind of look like he'd fit there. And if you got to go outside of your own country, Sandro Tonali is 19 years old, and that's the type of player that they used to pick up.
Yeah.
So that'd be where I would go.
All right. I got some realistic ones for you, dude. You need a right back, first of all, because right now you got, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. And I think
we know that Wan-Bissaka is going back to Palace, so they do need a right back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think right now it's probably Dalot, though. I don't think Bissaka's getting anywhere close. And I don't think that's good enough. I think you go get Jurrien Timber from Ajax. You use that Ten Hag connection. He's a right back, center back, can kind of play both for you. Gives you some depth at center back, gives you a starting right back. And then Wan-Bissaka and Dalot look a lot better as backups than they do as starters. And then, as I was mentioning in the weaknesses, you got to reassert yourself. You have to bring yourself back in the Premier League as a big bad, as one of those teams that just goes and gets who they want, goes and gets a guy who they know can do it. I'm not sure Frankie de Jong can do it. He hasn't been doing it at Barcelona. I think it's a worse league. He hasn't been doing it. You know who has been doing it, John? And we mentioned him a couple episodes ago. I think you go get Yuri Tielemans. Get Yuri Tielemans, you put him in that midfield.
Former Anderlecht guy.
You could even, if Fred doesn't work out, Tielemans, Eriksen, Fernandez, or if Fred does work out, you want to play a little bit more defensive, a little bit more engine in that midfield. Fernandez, Tielemans, Fred. And you got a pretty solid midfield there. I think that's a big buy if you get Tielemans. Because he's been doing it. He's been doing it on a worse team. He's been doing it for 4 years in the Premier League. You know he can do it. And you need guys who you know can do it right now because you can't keep missing.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So let's say they listen to your advice and they bring these guys in.
They should.
And as they should. Everyone should listen to this pod and bring the guys we say in. Michael, where do you got Man United finishing this year in your range game? In your range finder.
In my range finder, well, I did mention last episode, West Ham were 6 to 8. They weren't 8 and they weren't 7, and they were 6. I think it comes as no surprise. I have them, Manchester United, 6 to 8. I think they finished 7th this year. I think they don't do this. I think what they've done so far is not good enough. I think Ten Hag is a good coach, but I think you're going to lose Ronaldo. I don't think as much as I went to bat for Anthony Martial, I did. He is not a top 6 in the Premier League striker. I think he could do a job for you. I could be proven wrong too. I'd love to be, because then I would look right, 4 months ago. But I think that if West Ham can pull a couple moves and Man United stay stagnant, which I think will happen, I think they're 7th.
Yeah. I got them 6th, and it's splitting hairs at this point with them and West Ham, I think.
Any chance they finish 5th?
That means they'd have to beat out either Arsenal or Chelsea or Tottenham.
Yes.
Their youth isn't as good as Arsenal's. Their coach isn't as proven as Chelsea's. And their team isn't as good as Tottenham. Their team isn't as good as Tottenham. Yeah, I know. I was going this is this is the whole picture. No, I can't see a world where they finish 5th. Like, they're just not. The only way they finish 5th is if Ten Hag is the truth.
The way, the truth, and the light.
Yeah, and that's the only way. So, honestly, I thought that was going to be rougher. I think we let Nick off the hook a little bit with that one, to be honest. I thought we were going to be a lot more mean.
Spoiler, they finish outside the top 10.
No, okay, relax.
I'm kidding, Nick. I'm kidding.
Like, subscribe, share, leave us some comments. We love the comments. We love hearing from you. Man United, the once big brand, have they fallen on hard times? And is it because of a U.S. owner? I do believe it is so.
They're like Under Armour.
Yeah. Oh.
Bye.
Hey, Wood, let me hold that beat.